Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have already taken a look at the console version of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, but today we're going to be looking at the DS version. Now that I can record handheld games, I'd figured, what the hell, why not? So this game is not so drastically different from the console version. It's still centered around the Beijing 2008 Olympics. It still has many of the same events, and it has the same playable characters. You will still be playing the same 16 Mario and Sonic characters, although there is one notable exception. I mean, look at this face. How could you not want to play as this handsome bastard? But I digress. Now, the appeal of the console game was that you were playing it on the Wii. And the Wii, I'm not really big on motion controls in general. I don't want it in my platformers. I don't want it in my serious action games. But when it comes to stuff like the Olympics, I would actually prefer motion mashing as opposed to constantly mashing A and B in order to win a track race, you know? I think motion controls work for the Olympic games, and, well, the DS version obviously won't have that because the Nintendo DS doesn't have motion controls. So what does the Nintendo DS rely on in order to make its mini-games unique and interesting? Why, it relies on the stylus. Oh, goody. Well, let me show you some footage of me playing this game, and you can tell me whether this looks awesome to play or not.
On your mark. Get set.
Doesn't that look fun? So yeah, after playing the DS version, I actually do want to mash B and A in order to win a track race. There's something about waving the stylus back and forth on the bottom screen over and over and over again that gets really tiresome and annoying after a while. I don't like it in the track races, and you have to do it all the time in the track races. I don't like it when you're going swimming, and you have to do it in order to swim. Every time you build up for a long jump, a triple jump, a javelin throw, or whatever, you basically have to smack that stylus back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on the bottom screen. And almost all of the mini-games in this game rely on the stylus in some way. There are a few mini-games that don't have stylus controls. They do have actual button inputs. But for the most part, everything that was in the console game that's on the DS, just imagine it with a stylus control, and it's basically the same thing. I mean, there are some instances in which I do prefer the stylus over the motion controls. For example, the long jump and the javelin throw. You see, you always had to swing the Wiimote in a very specific way in the console version, and it was always hard to judge how hard or how soft you had to swing the Wiimote in order to make a perfect jump or a great angle for the javelin or whatnot, right? But with the stylus, you're basically drawing a line, and I find that a lot more manageable. It's a lot more manageable to see your character running on screen, draw a line, a very good line, going all the way to the top corner, and doing it before your character, you know, reaches the line and whatnot. So the long jump, triple jump stuff, I think that works out pretty well. When it comes to archery and skeet, they actually make you move the stylus on the bottom screen, and where you're moving it on the bottom screen is reflected on the top screen. It's sort of like Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS. So you're moving on the bottom screen, but you're also looking on the top screen and pushing the L button in order to fire a gun bullet at the plates and whatnot. And I actually think that's pretty tight. I find it pretty manageable. The cursor does not shrink or grow bigger depending on this little training exercise like it did in the console version. So really all you're doing is looking out for the arrows, and when a plate comes on, push L, boom, and your stylus. I actually like how that whole thing is set up. It's pretty fun. When you're doing the fencing minigame, I actually think that one's kind of annoying because you're moving with the control pad, but you're still flicking the stylus along the bottom screen in order to slash at your opponent or to parry or whatnot, and it's very unintuitive. That feels like a game that probably could have relied more on buttons. But hey, it's a DS game, so we have to make you use the stylus in some way or another. When it comes to events like Trampoline, they basically tell you a whole bunch of directions they want you to flick the stylus, and so if it goes top left, you move it top left. If it goes up, you move it up. If it tells you to go in a circle 3 times, you go in a circle 3 times. It's basically the same thing as the console version. Every time your character reaches the trampoline, you want to swing up with the stylus in order to make your character jump high and whatnot. So that one's pretty fun. I actually do prefer how vault is handled in this one because it's basically like the Sonic Rush special stages. Every time you hit the vault, all of these numbers show up on the bottom screen, and all you have to do is push those numbers in order before the timer bar goes down and, wastes your jump. So it's basically the Sonic Rush special stages. Hit the numbers in order, be fast about it, and you'll be doing some pretty cool flips in the air after doing a magnificent vault. When it comes to the hammer swing, all you're doing is swinging the stylus in circles until you let go of the stylus movements, and then your character will send it flying. That thing kind of works well. Table tennis actually doesn't rely on stylus controls, that's all buttons, and it feels pretty much exactly like the console version did. When the ping pong comes to you, hit your button. Aim the directional pad where you want the ping pong ball to go, and it's a pretty standard, easy minigame. So this version's pretty much very samey, but it does add a whole bunch of events that weren't in the console version, and some of them are pretty interesting. You have the cycling event. Basically, you and an opponent get onto a bicycle, and you have to cycle around this ring 2 times for 2 laps. And you have to manage your stamina, so you don't want to overexert yourself because you'll get tired, and then your opponent can easily pass by you. But there's a whole bunch of heart icons along the track as well that you can run into in order to gain stamina, and that one's pretty alright. No stylus control involved with that one. All you're doing is alternating the L and R buttons, so that one's pretty fun. I really like the high dive. The high dive is another non-stylus event where basically first you time your jump in order to make a super jump, and then when you're falling down, you have to push the buttons in order to successfully pull off tricks on your way to the water. And when you finally reach the end, your character spins in circles, so you're trying to time it right so that your pose looks very straight when you land into the water. They have a few unique events like Dream Basketball. You use the stylus to catch the basketballs, and then you flick them up to the top screen, hoping they'll run into the hoops. Certain balls have certain power-ups that will screw up your opponents, and that one's okay. There's Dream Lawn Jump, where you get a running start and then you go flying through the sky, and you want to see if you can reach farther than the other opponents are. So you want to guide your character into the rings and collect items so that you can hit them with a red shell or give yourself a little boost with a mushroom or something. And you're trying to land on all of these tiny little islands and whatnot as well. So that one's pretty fun. But the only event worth talking about on the Nintendo DS version, ladies and gentlemen, is boxing. You and another opponent will duke it out in the ring and beat the crap out of each other, and oh my god, is this satisfying. Basically, you try jabs, you can block your opponent's attacks, and the more attacks you do, you fill up this little special meter that will unleash a super attack, which will drain your character's health really, really fast. And I just gotta say, it is so satisfying to beat on certain Mario and Sonic characters.
Go, go, go! Take this! Knockdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. KO. An obvious result.
Oh! Dr. Eggman knocked your ass out! The year of Luigi is over, bitch! Boom! So yeah, other than that, there are a few Dream events I could be talking about, but they're pretty samey. I mean, there's still Dream Table Tennis, Dream Fencing, Dream Racing. Honestly, the DS version is pretty forgettable. I mean, the appeal of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, I would think, is playing it in the comfort of your own home, with friends, with motion controls, on a TV screen. Playing it on the Nintendo DS is not quite the same thing. I seriously doubt anyone else is going to have a copy of this game in your neighborhood, and that you're going to be playing the local multiplayer all that much. So that part's kind of missing. Future games in the series would actually add story modes into the handheld versions of Mario and Sonic. Yeah, honest to God story modes, and I'll talk about those when we get to them. But this version of Beijing 2008, the original Mario and Sonic, no story mode whatsoever. It has the usual circuits and mission modes that were in the console version, but otherwise it's just kind of a mediocre minigame collection on the DS. Do you want to flip your stylus stick left and right, left and right, left and right really fast? I don't know. That's not really fun to me. The graphics are inferior to the Wii version, obviously, and, you know, I just feel there's more fun to be had with the console version. But that's my opinion on DS Mario and Sonic. Now you know not to pick it up, because it's average as hell. And, yeah, that's Mario and Sonic for the DS. But coming up, though, we will be looking at Sega Superstars, so stay tuned for that one.